Imagine you're out for a walk in Berlin and that you stroll along Alexanderplatz, where the sound of rushing cars and the distant hum of the trams blend with the chatter of passers-by. Suddenly, something unexpected catches your eye. A plastic container lying by the curb. Would you do as I do and think, "Oh wow, a turquoise plastic container, just what I need"? Or would you simply see it as garbage, something that's lost all its value now that it's empty and left behind? Someone tossed it away, deciding it was worthless, because I find it hard to believe it just ended up there by chance with some other purpose in mind. Most likely not. But how often do we really pause and reflect on the little things around us? Not the shiny, impressive stuff that screams wealth or style. The sleek car everyone turns to look at, or the shiny, trendy shoes that say something about who you are and that everyone notices when you walk by. No, I'm talking about the small details, the ones we might overlook because they seem insignificant, but still tell a story or carry meaning if we let them. Like this sticker I recently found. If we look in the top right corner of this artwork, we can see a small sticker that says, "Oslo Municipality, postering prohibited." This tiny fragment, almost invisible, is full of traces of people and the passage of time. It's more than just a piece of paper with an adhesive underside. It tells stories. Stories about city life, about culture, about identity and control. And maybe even a bit of frustration from the municipality of Oslo about poster littering. The design, the typography, and which version of the city's coat of arms is used give clues about when it was made. The message itself also says a lot. In a time where everything is being digitalized, I think it's interesting to think about how our cities might look in the future, filled with posters in a completely new way, most likely on screens. So I don't know about you, but I really hope the old school poster format sticks around. Because if it doesn't, I might lose a key source of material. And then, suddenly, I have nothing to create with. At the same time, it's quite scary to think about how much paper I keep finding in the streets. Food wrappers from late-night snacks blowing in the wind, scraps from torn-down posters or flyers that has fallen from overloaded billboards over time. And this really worries me, both for the environment and because it feels overwhelming and a bit too much. I'm not going to stand here pretending to be an expert in recycling or environmental issues. When I started this project, I honestly didn't care so much about that. I didn't really think about sorting, and everything just went into the same bin without much worry. But what I learned since then is that art has an incredible way of making us think differently, sometimes inspiring small changes, and often those small changes can add up to something bigger. Some of you might have thought, "Yeah, I can relate to that," when I mentioned those eye-catching shoes, I did. I love shoes, and I always feel a bit lighter on my feet when I put on a new pair for the first time. Just like shoes make me happy, the packaging they come in can give me a similar kind of joy. Like this shoebox. I didn't find it in the streets, but I chose to reuse it because I saw value in it, and I saw a story that could be told. It gives the viewer a little glimpse into my life, who I am, what I care about, and my connection to street culture. The design can also help us interpret which trends or styles were popular when it was made, giving us a snapshot of the era it is from and who I was when I created this artwork. If I haven't said it yet, I collect, recycle, and reuse materials from the streets or from my everyday life to create art. Why I started doing this was totally by chance. It had nothing to do with saving the environment or recycling. It all began with an idea to preserve that raw urban aesthetics of the streets in my work. This was during a time when I was moving away from the streets as my main way of expressing myself and started showing in galleries instead. You could say it started as a wish to keep my roots alive in my art. Because my introduction to art wasn't through masters like Da Vinci, Picasso, or Munch, but through a small community of young people who, back then, didn't wait for a spot in a gallery or museum. Instead, they used the streets as a platform to make their art accessible to everyone. Today, this movement, known as street art or urban contemporary, is fully established. And I was one of those who got inspired by names like Invader, Cause, Vils, Pichiavo, and Shepherd Ferry. The journey to use materials like this and starting to understand what I was doing has been a long one. But you should have seen the look on my friend and assistant Aspen's face back in 2018. One day, I burst into the studio, a bit out of breath, and said, "Aspen, guess what? I finally know what we're gonna do. We're gonna go out in the street, collect garbage, and use it to create art." Yes. His half-annoyed, slightly confused look haven't quite left my memory. And I admit it, my starting point was pretty naive. But over the years, the materials I use and the technique I have developed has grown deeper, taking on a more symbolic meaning, both on an artistical level and more personally. To me, it has become like a metaphor for change and an ongoing journey beneath the surfaces of cities and people. I can find moss-covered concrete, bricks, weathered wood, posters, stickers, or tiles. This tile looks like a regular gray tile, but if you turn it around, we can read "Made in Yugoslavia." Or this piece of graffiti that I collected in Berlin. You might think the interesting part is the front where the actual graffiti is. If we turn it around, we can see this beautiful color combination created of years and years and layers of paint. Some of these material might appear dusty, dirty, or even gross. And they are sometimes, without a doubt. But if we look past that, we can see that each one has its own unique quality and function. And it's in this diversity a lot of the potential lies. But for me, it's not just the individual quality of each material, but how they interact, communicate, and influence each other when brought together. In this orchestrated interplay, I often feel like I'm revealing something important, something hidden deep beneath the surface. Through my work, I try to capture a sense of time and place, to reflect on humanity's place in the city. It's a tool to explore our shared history and cultural heritage, and how identity is constantly shaped by a balance between the lasting and the fleeting. I hope this invites viewers to think about who they are, where they come from, and how our relationship to our surroundings can say something important about ourselves and the society we have built together. So, the next time you're out for a walk and something unexpected catches your eye, would you do as I do and think, "Oh, wow, just what I need"? Or would you leave it behind because someone threw it away, making it seem worthless? Thank you.